Good morning, guys. Hello, how are you? Happy Africa Day. As you can see, I'm dressing my Africa suit, right? Just to make sure that I give honor to all the people that are us. And I have to say, it's a beautiful day today. And I was thinking about what kind of topic can I have today, right? And I thought, Africa Day. I like to share with all of you a reflection that I've had with myself for a very long time. Yeah. So apologies in advance if it doesn't feel very structured. As I say, it's just like I say on the flow. And also the other thing that's quite special is this session is the first recorded session that I'm doing. Why is it recorded? Simply because at the same time of my usual slot, which is 5:30 BST time, I'm just having another event, right, where I'm engaging some young people from both Europe and Africa. But I did not want to miss our conversation. So today I like to explore the topic and saying, our RE leader, renewable energy leader, are they strategic enough? Why am I asking this question? You're about to find out, but I just want to say that stay tuned because we're going to have a great discussion together. Okay, we are back here. So I trust you still okay with me, right? You're still going on. So my name is Tony Tiu. I'm the founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa, your global clean energy champion. And first of all, I'd like to start by thanking you for supporting us all this time. Because Renewables in Africa, we've been around for 6 years. And we cannot be going as strong as we are doing at the moment if you were not supporting us. So I want to say thank you. I also want to say this channel that we created, it's here for a very specific reason because we are looking to demystify the renewable energy sector for you. What does it mean? Simple. It means that if you're an investor and you're looking to pump money into the sector, I want to get your money, but I want to make it easier for you to invest. So we're here to share the information and the insight you need. If you are a company and you say as well that I want to green the operation, my operation, I want to decarbonize my operation, starting with me, and who knows, I can inspire other sector, but I don't know where to start. I have no clue, no idea, but I'm willing to do the right thing. And here as well, you're going to find the right information. Or you're a professional, you want to jump into the sector saying, now for the rest of my life, or at least part of my professional life, I like to also contribute and do something that is good for the planet. There you go. In here, you also will find the information that you need. So what can you do? Very simple. I'm simply asking you, first of all, to like this video, to share this video, and also to share your comment because I want to know what is that you are thinking. Maybe you like what we're doing. Excellent. Make sure that you leave a comment. Maybe you don't like, criticize us because that's the only way we can improve and hopefully we can win your support, right? Because that's what we're here to do, right? So that's what you will see. We keep on improving. And as I say today, yes, it's a recorded version, but it doesn't matter because I still want to see your comment because I promise you, we will always respond to every single comment as we have always done, right? So now let's back into the topic. I was asking myself this question, right? It's just a reflection. Like I say, today it's an open reflection. I'm very, very keen to see what you're thinking. So I was asking myself, are renewable energy leaders, are they strategic enough? First of all, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because, like many of you, I suspect, so I want to see change happen. And I want to see change happen as fast as possible. And sometimes I'm very much frustrated, right? And I know there is a number of noise that we are making, right? So we're having some, let's say, outrage, some demonstration that we're doing here and there. And that's good. I absolutely support that, right? It's needed. The question I'm asking to myself is, okay, is it effective enough? Are we seeing change happening fast enough? So let's be honest. We definitely see some progress. Nobody can deny that. But all of us also will want, or at least a good number of us would like to see things going a little faster, right? Nobody will say that it's not needed at this point in time. Then I start asking myself, because obviously the movement, most of the time, like any movement will be driven by the leaders that sort of will set the tone, right? So bring the momentum, and obviously people will follow and push all of us forward. The question is, are we strategic enough? Because most of the time, I sometimes have the feeling that, and I include myself into it, we could be a little bit naive, right? A little bit naive as to understanding exactly what is the environment and how things actually change, right? So yes, we looking at at a better society, an ideal world where everything is powered by renewables. We all agree. I believe we're all going to be in a better situation, right? However, to get there, so how do we make it happen, right? It's not just gonna happen just because we've been crying here and there, and we've been complaining here and there. We're not always making constructive criticism, not always, but most of the time we do. And at the same time as well, I would say, uh, how, how can I say that? So we also could be coming from sometimes extreme position. That's my feeling. Again, I'm very much happy for you to disagree because I want to hear from you what you're thinking. So I was thinking in my mind, I was like, okay, so what are the few things that I believe we need to understand as an industry? So as a supporter for the energy transition, for the energy access, for clean energy, for renewables energy. So there are three things that I wanted to share today. That's part of my reflection. I don't know again what you're thinking. First of all, I think it's important for us to understand that energy. So, and I have three equations. The first equation for me is energy is power. Energy is equal power. So it's very simple to see and realize that these days, right? If you look, for example, in the Ukraine-Russia situation, Russia is a big supplier of gas for Europe that give Russia a tremendous amount of power over Europe, right? Well, at least it has been the case for the last few years, last few decades. And now Europe is looking very quickly to unravel that, right? To come back to a situation where there's a little more balance, right? But clearly, Russia, because it's a strong gas supplier, is a big gas supplier, it gave Russia a certain level of influence, of power, right? And that's also true. But if you look in the past, the United States, with the influence that they had over Middle East, and most of the reason was that because oil, which was obviously the most popular fuel used at the time, right, and it's still right now, was coming from Middle East. Before, obviously, we had shale gas in the U.S. and other places in Canada as well. So, and because of that, so the America wanted to make sure that they have a level of control over this region, because he who controls the source of energy obviously control power, has power. It's very important. And we've seen the same as well in Africa, for example, especially Francophone Africa, with France wanted to have as well a certain level of influence that it could have over the certain country without diving into controversy, right? So clearly, energy is power, and we all understand that right now, and it's very, very obvious because all of the time right now, most of us are discussing about energy security. So energy equal power. That's the first thing that we need to understand. Very key, very important. So the second thing we want to understand is energy is money, right? It's again not difficult to understand that. If you understand the strategic position of energy, so you know that he who controls energy has the money, isn't it? Right? And you can see that with the big oil and gas companies, right? I mean, up until very recently, they were about the biggest company in the world. The most bankable company in the world. Obviously, it's changed now with the arrival of technology and all those, GAFA, so those technology company. But even if you look at the most valuable company, I think it used to be Apple, but now we also between Apple and Saudi Aramco. So he who controls the source of energy is very wealthy. Why? Because as I've said many times, we're living in a world of convenience, right? So everything that we do is powered by a source of energy. The fact that I'm talking to you using my internet, my laptop, it has to be power. If you're driving to meet somebody, it has to be power. If you're flying somewhere, it has to be power. Even if you build anything, you need to have a source of power that will allow you to make it happen. And for that to make it happen, right, as I say, there needs to be a source of power, a source of energy that would take it. So this is what I'm saying. Energy is money, right? So he who controls the source of energy controls money, has the money. Very much important to understand that. So what am I saying here? I'm saying here is, right, so as a sector, we need to understand that power, we need to have a certain access to power. That's what I'm talking about, having a number of lobby group that would make sure that we talk to people that hold power to make sure that we can put a strong case for renewables, right? So sometimes we would tend to say, we would complain, but not necessarily approaching this guy and doing the right inference, exerting the right inference there. So that's very important. And the other thing is, I'm also saying that energy is money. This is what I'm saying. Again, we need to be applying tremendous economic pressure, yeah, to make sure that as well things are changing. And if I come back to power just for a second, please. So how can we, for example, have an influence on power? Power, or at least in democratic society, right? Without again diving into controversy as to what is democracy. Let's leave it aside for now. Let's imagine we have a proper democratic society, right? So what am I saying? I'm saying basically is one of the the best time to influence those politicians is actually at the time of elections. So that means when we having people retracting, not participating, right, in the exercise of election, this is how you're surrendering your power. And don't be surprised if then you can see that what is applied, right, the rules that are actually built has nothing to do with what you believe into. So that's very much important. You have to have a lobby, and obviously understand that as well. If you don't organize between yourself to be able to make sure that when we vote a certain way, and we do that strategically to make sure that we can shift the balance of power a certain way, then obviously you're not going to make a difference. So yeah, if energy is power, I want to make it. I want to exert my influence to power, and one of the best times to do it is election. And don't just think about presidential election, or let's say legislative election, right? So you have election pretty much every level. Take part of it, right? So how can I sort of express my voice, organize, make sure that I can tilt the balance of power toward what I need, and to see things starting to change. And the money as well, exerting pressure, because I said those big companies, right? They're making a lot of money. You can see the like of Total, Shell. So I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying because they controlling a commodity that is so needed in the world, obviously they will have a lot of money. But what I'm saying, what they also rely upon is their customers, right? If there is a lot of economic pressure just to make sure, hey, we want to keep on being your customer only if you do this. I'm telling you as well, it's going to make a change. So what am I saying here? This is actually the third equation that I want to bring up, right? Because I say energy is power, energy is money. I also want to say that there is a common denominator between the two, right? The energy is power, the energy is money. And if you're following me, is that the common denominator are the people. Yes, people can shift the balance of power by voting a certain way and making sure that leaders will follow their decision, right? People at the same time can shift the economic power by making sure as well businesses are actually moving a certain way. Because if all of a sudden a critical group of customer decide to behave a certain way, if you have the critical mass, the company not making money, and if the company is not making money, obviously they having to listen to the people that are complaining and understanding what are they talking about and make some changes. And that's what you see right now. I can tell you, for example, that I'm going to be flying into a event in Washington D.C. Right? It's organized by the Economist Sustainability Week in the U.S. And then there's many top companies there, and I've never seen. The first time I realized in my life that that role has become so important. Chief Sustainability Officer. I didn't used to see that before, right? Before it was more CEO, Chief Executive Officer, CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, CFO, Chief Financial Officer. But up until very recently, we started seeing the prominence and the rise of that new role, the Chief Sustainability Officer. It's become so critical, so important now. So that's to show you how important it is. So yes, that's the third equation, which is obviously energy is people. Very important as well to remember that. Now, just to bring everything together, what am I saying here? I'm saying that our leaders, right, if they don't understand, if as a leader we don't understand things this way, and we're simply ranting, we're simply feeling outraged, we're sitting criticizing, yeah, and just complaining, but not tapping into power, tapping into money, tapping into people, things gonna very rarely change, right? So this is what I absolutely wanted to make sure that I can share as an objective. And me personally, that's my personal opinion, I think that I don't see enough of that. So, and where is the easier way to start as a sector for renewables energy? So, yes, I would agree with you. Power, we can, as I say, especially at times of election. And again, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed that. You would have seen that in Australia, right? So the Conservative government has been removed out of power. Now you have the Labour. And what the first thing Labour say is, we're going to make Australia one of the superpower of renewables energy, right? So that's clearly one of the things that the voter expressed to say, we want to see change. Because before that, as you can imagine, Australia was a little bit reluctant to sort of jump in the bandwagon, right? So, but clearly now they have been removed and there's a new government, and we're going to have to judge this government on its action, not just on what it's saying. What it's saying sounds interesting. Let's say it's much better than what we used to hear. Now, let's see, enjoy them from the action and see whether what they say actually makes sense. But I'm saying that power at time of election, but I understand that the lobby that we form will not be, at least for the short term, be the most powerful, and it's still going to be overcast by the fossil fuel lobby that are bigger, because this guy, they've understood the game, right? So that means it's going to take us some time to ramp up and get the right lobby to make those change happen, right? Even if, like I said, change is happening. Second thing, I talked about the money. Yes, the renewable energy sector, we are not the most wealthy, right? Let's agree with that. So clearly, oil and gas again here, they are far ahead of us, far ahead of us, right? So that's why you see nations like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Gabon. So these guys who have with a huge reserve of fossil fuels, fossil fuel sources. So they have a lot of money, and so they can say they're far ahead of us. So again, for the short term, renewable won't be as wealthy as oil and gas would be, right? So yes, there could be some level of action in those two, power and money, but like I said, it's going to take some time. However, the third element, the people, that for me, it's where the game changer could be right now. Yeah, because guess what? If you look at the majority of people around the world is there, right? So clearly, a lot more people tend to be in favor of renewable energy, clean energy. What am I saying here? In here, on this one, we clearly have the upper hand. So we should be using that. And guess what? And that's the beautiful thing. If you'll be following what I said before, if you actually hold, no, I wouldn't say hold, that's not the right term, but if you have the people with you, it becomes easier to access power. It becomes, because power wants voters, people that will vote for them. It becomes easier to access money because businesses need customers, right? What I'm saying here, we're a little bit behind for those two, the first two, power and money, but we have the good sentiment of the people. And we should be using that and dominate to fast track our way into those other two. So this is what actually I wanted to share. So that's what I'm saying. Being strategic and thinking about that this way is very important, right? So we need then our leaders to come together to talk about those different element levers that I've mentioned and say, how do we do and how do we bring that together? How do we mobilize in such a way that we actually can make an impact, right? And use that influence because and to see things change. Let me tell you something. I have no guarantee that it's always going to be the case that we're always going to have the public with us. Nothing is guaranteed. So you could tell me most likely yes. I would say yeah, okay, that's great, fantastic. I'm happy with that. But you have no guarantee. And by the way, if I have it right now, I want to use it right now. This is the way it is. Let me use it right now, and it's the biggest lever possible. So this is what I wanted to say. So the response to my own question: renewable energy leaders strategic enough? What do you think? What is your response? My own response, again, I'm saying I'm including myself because I like to think that I have a little voice through you guys that is being heard, right? I would say we can do a lot better. We can do a lot better, and we can come together and we can strategize a lot better, right? And we should definitely, for me, stop being naive, and we should play the proper game because the game of power is nasty. You know, it can be very dirty. So you need to understand, obviously, how to position yourself. In the game of money, same, if not worse. So it's important for me not to be naive. Yes, to have a clear objective, but not to be naive and to understand how we come together to make things happen. At the end of the day, whatever we do, we also need to understand it's going to need all of us together to work together, find a way. We may not necessarily like each other a lot. I prefer that we like each other, right? However, even if we don't like each other, we should at least respect each other and learn how to actually uh, move forward together because there's only one planet for now. And we need to find a way, all of us, to live in here together. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to share. So yeah, so like I say, so because it's not necessarily live, I can't respond to the question right now, but I'd be happy to hear what you guys have to say. Okay, that's cool. So I'll be very happy to as usual, may the sun be with you. Guys, think about what I say and let me know what you think. Take care, guys. Bye.